think it's fair to say that this road to WrestleMania has been incredibly unpredictable and emotional. In just the span of 2 months, we went from saying, this is looking like it's going to be one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, to, oh no, oh my God, everyone is getting hurt, to, oh my goodness, why are they destroying all the plans that we've been working towards over the past 2 years, to right back where we started of, I think this is going to be one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. And one of the conductors behind this roller coaster of emotion is none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a WWE legend in his own right, one of the most famous movie actors on the planet, and arguably one of the most influential people on the planet, to the point that people are talking about The Rock potentially running to be the president of the United States, and it wouldn't be the first time that somebody started off in the WWE before becoming the president. Because this is The Rock. If The Rock comes back into the picture, of course you're gonna scrap all your plans and redraw them to involve The Rock. However, The Rock is not the only person with influence in the world of the WWE, because collectively the fans, the WWE universe, could be just as influential. Because the WWE universe, with the hashtag We Want Cody movement, forced the WWE to change from their original plan of Roman Reigns versus The Rock main eventing night 2 of WrestleMania. Which leaves us in a little bit of limbo as to what we're going to be doing with The Rock, because it looks like it's for sure going to happen that The Rock is going to have a match at WrestleMania, but with who and when? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. As always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it. Out of all the possible situations that are available for The Rock at WrestleMania, it's looking like this is going to be the most likely outcome, that being a tag team match with The Rock and Roman Reigns teaming up to take on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And this, on its own, on paper, is a huge marquee match that involves the 3 biggest names in professional wrestling today, alongside one of the most famous human beings on the face of this entire planet. This doesn't need a heck of a lot of buildup, but there is going to be a lot of buildup, and it's already started that buildup, and it's already been very good. Now, the WWE has already started to allude, perhaps maybe to get us used to and ready to accept the idea of a tag match, perhaps being the match that closes WrestleMania in general. This very well could be the night 2 main event, as Triple H was talking about at the WrestleMania kickoff press conference, that the very first WrestleMania was main evented by a tag team match that was so big that it transcended the world of professional wrestling, and it went into the world of mainstream media because it had the likes of course, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. On top of that, the WWE also released this teaser trailer that had The Rock and Roman Reigns walking forward to face off against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. That one is definitely a lot less subtle. That one more or less is screaming from the mountaintops that we're most likely going to be getting The Rock and Roman Reigns teaming up against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I know that after that teaser trailer, a lot of people were thinking that perhaps it's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, as well as The Rock versus Seth Rollins. But to me, The Rock versus Seth Rollins doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense, considering we're talking about The Rock, somebody that is years and years and years removed from their last professional wrestling match, and Seth Rollins, who is hobbling around on one leg. So to put the burden of carrying The Rock through an entire singles match on Seth Rollins right now with how his knee is, I don't know if I would necessarily risk that, which is why I believe that a tag match actually fixes a lot of the problems that we have, because we're able to let The Rock rest in between tags, because again, he just doesn't have the stamina that these guys have. These guys that are wrestling 300 plus days a year, aside from Roman Reigns, of course, let's not forget that he's also a part-timer, but this tag match also helps mask Seth Rollins' knee injury, a knee that, if I'm being honest with you, looks pretty darn good to me, but you know, it's knee injuries. What the hell do I know? The question that does arise from seeing this potential tag team match being the main event of WrestleMania are 2 questions. 1, what are the stakes? Like, what are these guys having a match for? Is it just a grudge match? Because if that's the case, I'm down for it, but they're going to really need to build to this in terms of creating some serious heat for Rock and Roman and creating a lot of sympathy for Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I don't think that they're going to struggle doing that, but I would like to see some stakes in this, whether it be the less popular idea, which I don't necessarily love, which is a winner team takes all of the titles. So if Cody and Seth wins, then they both walk out each as an individual world champion, and vice versa if Rock and Roman were to win. I don't particularly love that scenario. I also don't love the idea of putting a world title on an even more part-timer than Roman Reigns in The Rock. I think a more plausible set of stakes is that The Rock uses his power to say that, no, Cody, if you want your match against Roman Reigns at at the end of night 2, you have to first beat us at the end of night 1. Perhaps that's the stakes that are at play, and Seth Rollins just hates Roman Reigns so much and hates this part-timer so much that he's willing to team up with his mortal enemy in Cody Rhodes to ensure that Cody Rhodes doesn't lose this opportunity to help return balance to the main event scene of the WWE. This could also just straight up be the night 2 main event. Perhaps Cody versus Roman already happened. Seth Rollins' match against the #1 contender that from the Elimination Chamber match, maybe that's already happened, and perhaps this is how we bookend the show, a match with Rock, Roman, Cody, and Seth. I don't particularly love the idea of night 2 ending on a tag team match. I really want it to be Roman versus Cody Rhodes. But again, who am I to say? Because these are 4 of the biggest names imaginable that could step into a wrestling ring. And I think that warrants a major spot. I just like Cody versus Roman more in night 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if the WWE puts this at the main event of night 2, even though I don't love it. Folks, if you want even more wrestling content, make sure to check out patreon.com/SantiZap. The review of Monday Night Raw for this week is already up. The episode of Wrestling Cool is already up as well because you get it 3 days early, but then you're also going to get the SmackDown review and more. So if you want even more wrestling content, more than what you're already getting here, it's just extra content, go check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap. It'll be the top link in the description or the pinned comment. All right, I'll give the video back to you. Back to the video. Another plausible scenario, a scenario which a lot of us were creating headcanon around when the whole cuckening of Cody Rhodes happened, is actually a triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and The Rock. And we could easily get here if we decide to tell a storyline of The Rock inserting his power from being a member of the board of directors, and maybe he just inserts himself into a triple threat match to be part of that main event scene, so that the 2 members of the bloodline, the tribal chief and the high chief, The Rock, taking on Cody Rhodes to prevent him from usurping the bloodline as the royal family of professional wrestling. I don't hate this, and I particularly don't hate this because we've seen this story play out before. WrestleMania 20 as well as WrestleMania 30, where an established veteran forcefully inserts themselves into a WrestleMania triple threat match. It happened with Shawn Michaels inserting himself into the Benoit versus Triple H match, and it also happened with Daniel Bryan inserting himself into the Batista and Randy Orton main event match. So it's a proven formula that works, and it's a formula that both times that they've already done this at WrestleMania, it has worked tremendously and given us one of the best WrestleMania matches and set of WrestleMania moments possible. Plus, if we're looking to really cement Cody Rhodes at the very top of the mountain as your next John Cena, as your next Stone Cold, as your next Hollywood Hulk Hogan, then why not? Then why not have him be the one that beats the 2 impossible people to defeat in Roman Reigns and The Rock? It'd be like somebody defeating a final boss of a Dark Souls game. Hell, maybe this even plays into the whole night 1 tag team match, where maybe because The Rock and Roman won that tag team match, it makes this a triple threat with the 2 members of the bloodline against Cody Rhodes. And if Cody and Seth were to win, maybe it inserts Seth Rollins. Maybe that's a possibility. But look, I already have a hard time believing that Roman Reigns would do double duty across both nights of WrestleMania. I really don't think that The Rock is going to be doing double duty. So if this is a possibility, if this is where the WWE wants to go, I don't think that the tag match happens in any capacity. I think that it's just The Rock inserting himself into this triple threat match. But because of all of the hints that WWE has already given us in terms of priming us and getting us used to the idea of it being a tag team match that's the main event of one of the nights of WrestleMania, it makes me believe that this is actually no longer in the cards, if it ever was. Perhaps here's a possibility for one of the nights of WrestleMania. Maybe Cody Rhodes does do double duty, and maybe once again, board of directors Dwayne Johnson uses his power to make it just like WrestleMania 30 that Cody Rhodes has to go through The Rock before he gets a chance at Roman Reigns. Again, we've seen this formula before, and it worked really well when Daniel Bryan had to go through Triple H in order to finally insert himself into that match for the world title in the main event of WrestleMania 30, and it gave us one of the greatest opening matches in WrestleMania history, and I'm sure that they could replicate that formula that's already worked with Cody Rhodes and The Rock. Here is the problem with this. If this ends up being a match that is a precursor to Cody Rhodes being able to have an opportunity against Roman Reigns, I don't see it happening, because I don't see The Rock losing his first match back, considering how much they've already built him and how much he has already built himself in terms of having this final boss feeling. I don't think it makes sense for the final boss, The Rock, to lose before Roman Reigns. If anything, I see this match happening next year's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, somewhere else. I just don't think that right now is the right time to have a Cody versus Rock match. However, I desperately want to see this with how that WrestleMania press conference went. Another possible scenario is that they just go back to what originally was the plan and have Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I think all of us are collectively groaning at the thought of this, which is a shame considering this is a match that we were all clamoring for and wanting as early back as 2015 when The Rock came out and raised Roman Reigns' hands. This should have happened at WrestleMania 38, could have happened at WrestleMania 39. We'd love to see it at WrestleMania 41. However, they chose the wrong time to try and give us this, which is why the fans revolted and why we completely dissolved the possibility of this happening. However, we have to still treat this potentially as a possibility in the event that, again, The Rock and TKO, the real life versions of them, believe that this is the bigger money match and this is what they go with. But with how the world of professional wrestling has reacted to this, I don't see this being the case. I do see this being the case at some point, and I see it in a world where The Rock is just this colossally unstoppable, tyrannical heel that it actually forces Roman Reigns to turn babyface. I could see this being arguably the last match of Roman Reigns' career, because Roman Reigns is inevitably going to have a shorter career than other top male superstars because of his health problems. I completely understand if that ends up being the case. However, if you want a huge swan song for Roman Reigns, build him up to be a babyface once again, build The Rock to be the unstoppable monster, and have Roman Reigns versus The Rock in reversed roles than we were originally expecting in terms of who's the babyface and who's the heel. I do want to see this. I still want to see this. Just because I was part of the We Want Cody movement was not me saying that I don't want Roman Reigns versus The Rock. It was me saying that I don't want Roman Reigns versus The Rock today, but I want it, and I want it bad, just not yet. And I think I do want the dynamics change. I do want Roman being the babyface in this scenario. Here's one that people are throwing out: Triple H versus The Rock at WrestleMania. However, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, this is just not something that I don't necessarily want. It's just that it's an impossibility for this to happen because of Triple H's heart problems. Like, Triple H has a defibrillator implanted in his heart, something that's meant to restart his heart in the event that it stops. And the fact that that's even a 1% chance possibility of it happening during a wrestling match means that I don't want to see them take that risk. I do not want to see Triple H versus The Rock in any way, shape, or form. I would have loved this back in 2014 when they alluded to it, and I do still want to see this feud just more on a psychological stage, with them arguing and fighting over power, who gets to make the decisions, who's sitting at what table, etc., etc. I do believe that The Rock and Triple H are meant to dance until the end of time. This is a never-ending feud, and I'm okay with that. However, we do have to come to grips with the fact that this feud can never spill into the ring or probably ever get physical. If this could have happened, I could have seen a world where Cody Rhodes has his match against Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins has his match against whoever the winner of the Elimination Chamber match is, and The Rock takes on Triple H over who is going to become the head of creative, who gets to sit at the top of the mountain in the WWE. I think they could have told a really great story, and I still think they can tell that exact same story. It just can't lead to a match between The Rock versus Triple H. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that. However, what is possible is a Game of Thrones-like scenario where there is a match between Triple H versus The Rock, but Triple H last minute, or not necessarily last minute, it doesn't have to be that way, selects a champion to represent him and to represent the WWE authority. And who better to represent the authority of the WWE than the OG Triple H guy in Randy Orton, somebody that Triple H has been mentoring since as early back as 2003 in the Evolution days, somebody that was the face of the authority storyline when it first started in 2013, and the guy that is about to surpass possibly even John Cena in terms of the most WWE championships. This would also give us a dream match that we've never seen before between Randy Orton and The Rock. This scenario, although unlikely, I fucking love, because again, it makes sense with all of the historical nuances that we have here in terms of Randy Orton being a Triple H guy. But I got one more for you. The Rock is making this argument when he had his PowerPoint being Jack Steve Jobs at the WrestleMania press conference that the bloodline, the Anoa'i family, are the only most powerful royal family in professional wrestling. There's Randy Orton, another member of a different royal family of professional wrestling, a third-generation superstar in his own regard. The Ortons are also one of these royal families in the world of professional wrestling. So to me, this is a dream match that makes sense. Randy Orton is one of the safest, most consistent workers that you could possibly be in the ring with, and The Rock needs a guy like Randy to help guide this match. Again, not that The Rock isn't in phenomenal shape, but he hasn't been in a wrestling ring for a very long time. And Randy Orton lives and breathes this business and has been at the top of the mountain of this business since he pretty much entered the world of professional wrestling. I think this makes a tremendous amount of sense. Like I said, it's a dream match that's kind of happened before WrestleMania 20, but not exactly. Either way, it's a nice callback 20 years later to getting another chance at doing The Rock versus Randy Orton. All right, folks, those are my favorite options for The Rock at this year's WrestleMania. I want you to sound off mostly about how you feel about this tag match being a possibility. I want to get the gauge of the community, how we feel about the potential of a tag team match with maybe even no stakes involved being the main event, just purely out of star power. Let me know, but for now, I'm done. Get out of here.